We are fresh back from vacation. Just got back a couple days ago, and a lot happened. A whole lot happened. A lot of good, feel a little bad here and there. Nothing serious though, but we're gonna talk about it all.
Don't get mad, it's just what it is. Yeah, we talking sports, shout out to Ingravenvids.
So Team Keep It Clean, welcome to another episode of the Team Keep It Clean podcast. Shout out to my mom because I was not thinking about no podcast. I had completely forgot about the podcast, and if she would not have reminded me about it last night, well, I know she would have reminded me about it today, but if she wouldn't have reminded me about it last night, I would have completely forgot about it. But anyway, we're here because right now I'm recording this at 10:09 a.m. on August 4th, Wednesday. Y'all know the podcast comes out every Wednesday. I try to record them early, but it doesn't always happen. So, preseason is like tomorrow. Tomorrow, we get the first football, and it is the Hall of Fame game, but still, it's the first football game that we're seeing since the Super Bowl. First one. And now what this means is that from now all the way through the Super Bowl, that we're going to have football every single week. Every single week. We made it. We made it. We made it. And with us having football every single week, things are about to pick. I mean, things have already picked up like crazy. Stuff is super busy now. And it's come with good and it's come with bad too, because now the teams in practice, they putting the pads on, but now we're hearing about a few more injuries here and there. Hopefully we don't hear about any more, even though we will hear about more, because that is the way that football goes. But we took a trip. Up there, flew to BWI, and we went up there for the open practice, which we had a lot of fun at. Got to meet a lot of Team Keep It Clean there. But we also had some experiences there. Well, first and foremost, the flight, the whole travel experience, because this has been our first time flying since the pandemic. The last time I took a flight myself, it was for the playoff game. It was for the Ravens-Titans playoff game in the 2019 season. Excuse me, where we just knew Ravens were going to the Super Bowl that year. We just knew, like, man, these dudes went 14-2. They won 12 games in a row. Man, yeah, they going to the Super Bowl for sure. They about to play the Titans. And I was thinking, okay, they might start off a little bit slow, but then they going to pick it up and get on fire and then pull away. That did not happen at all. They ended up losing. It was just a weird day / night. Even the weather was weird that night too. So I should have known that it was gonna be some weird stuff, because it's January. It's Baltimore. It's at M&T Bank State. It's January, so this is wintertime. So I go to I pack a hoodie, I pack an extra shirt, of course pack the jersey. I'm like, oh man, it's gonna be cold there. I gotta stay warm, especially because I know my plan that day was crazy, but hey, it was what it was. Because I flew in on Saturday. The game was on Saturday night. I flew in on Saturday morning, and I was flying out Sunday morning. So flew in Saturday morning. The game was Saturday night, and after the game, we did the live stream from the car, the post-game live stream from the car, and then we headed straight to the airport. But the weather, it was just so hot. It was so hot, and I was sweaty. I'm like, man, I'm really sweating up here in January. It doesn't make any sense, but when you look at the game, it made even less sense than the weather. But anyway, that was the last time that I traveled. For my wife, I know she traveled, actually the beginning of the 2019 season. So I traveled at the end. She traveled at the beginning because she had went to Utah, because she had just started a new job in Utah. Well, she started a new job, but the training was in Utah. So she had went there the day after the Ravens and Dolphins game. She went the day after. She was going to Utah. So that was crazy busy for her. Because, for the Ravens-Dolphins game, we went to that. It was crazy. And y'all already know. I mean, y'all probably saw the vlog and stuff. It was crazy, man. But, man. So that's the last time she traveled. But anyway, it was our first time traveling since the pandemic. And to me, it wasn't bad. It wasn't bad. We did throughout the airport. You got to have your mask on the whole time. That's annoying, but it wasn't bad. It was kind of regular there almost at the airport. It was almost just normal. Everybody just had masks on. That was the only difference. And of course, you could take them off while eating, drinking. Those masks were so annoying. But it was straight, and we got there to the airport down here. We got there at a good time. I had checked in. We flew Southwest. And Southwest, what they do, you don't get to pick your seats. It is first come, first serve. Well, no. Excuse me, I take that back. It's not necessarily first come, first serve, but there's no assigned seating. It's like with JetBlue or something. When you buy your ticket, you buy your seat. With Spirit, when you buy your ticket, you can buy your seat, even though Spirit is they crazy, man. But, Spirit, their flights are super cheap, but you got to literally pay for everything. And I don't think they have Wi-Fi yet. I know they said Wi-Fi was coming, but I don't think they even have Wi-Fi yet. But anyway, we flew Southwest, and the tickets were a reasonable price. But what I was concerned about before I bought the tickets, I'm like, man, I want us to all be able to sit together. And I told my wife, I was like, worst case scenario, if we got to have separate seating, then you and Carter sit somewhere and I sit somewhere else. But for the flight to BWI, I had got the A group boarding. I checked in at a good time, got the A group boarding, and that was cool. So we were the second group of people, no, the third group of people to board, because they do business class and first class, whatever. And I think veterans and stuff like that. Then they do the A boarding group. And then after the A boarding group, they do anybody traveling with small children. They don't tell you the age, but they just say small children. So they do that. And then they do the B boarding group. So the flight to BWI was nice, great. A little turbulence, which I hate. I don't think I know anybody that likes turbulence, though. But it's a little turbulence, but the flight overall was fine. We were on there. We brought the Nintendo Switch, so we were on there playing Mario Kart. And then Carter, he started watching movies, so I took the Switch and I was playing Mario Golf. And I love that game, and I'm starting to understand more about golf. Still not interested in watching golf, but I did love playing the game. So I'm understanding what a par is now. Obviously know what a hole-in-one is. With a bogey, starting to understand that more now too. Because I believe what a bogey is where, depending on the par, I ain't even gonna try to explain it. Anyway, we had the flight was straight. It was cool, and of course the flight, the captain, he was a Steelers fan. He was like, "Oh man, I don't like you already." And he was a Steelers fan. He even in a joking way too. Like he had gave us the snacks, and then he threw an extra one at me. So he was like, "Oh, I don't like you." But it was all in fun. So I appreciated it. And then there was somebody else that was like, "Oh man, he has on that Ravens sweater. You're gonna be hot." But he's representing. I said, "Yeah, I got to, man." But it was cool. Anyway, the flight up there, it was cool. We got to the hotel. What are we doing? We got off the plane, and I love because the flight expectation from here to there is 2 hours and 30 minutes, 2.5 hours. But I love when you fly and the flight ends up being shorter than what it's intended on being. I love that. It did take a little while for us to take off because there was just a lot of traffic on the runway, whatever it's called. But we got there safely, which I was the happiest about. Because flights is weird, right? I used to fly a lot when I was younger. Then when I got old, man, I don't think I was nervous. But when I got older, I just started getting a little nervous for takeoff. There was a while where I would get like really, really nervous. Now it's gotten a lot better. But like a couple years ago, I would just get really nervous during takeoff. And it's just because, and I think for me it's because I don't have any control over anything, like literally nothing. So nothing is in my hands. Like in a car, I'm driving, okay, cool, I got control over this. And whatever, on a bike, whatever. But on a plane, I ain't got no control. Everything is in the pilot's hands, and that's that. But anyway, flight was cool. And again, when you're on the plane, you can take your mask off to eat and whatnot, but they tell you to keep it on. Now it's funny because that on the flight there, and I always feel like this. Like I feel like Fort Lauderdale Airport, I feel like it's so much more chill than BWI. It is so much more chill, so much more relaxed, so much more laid back. Because I even remember times where at Fort Lauderdale Airport, they're like, "Oh no, you don't got to take off your shoes. You don't have to do that." I'll be like, "Oh, okay, no problem." Then I get to BWI, they're like, "No, take off your shoes, take off your socks." And it's like, okay, no problem. So that was that. But yeah, we got there, and what did we do? We got there, and I'm trying to think of the first thing we did when we got off the plane. Oh, we had to go get the rental car. And the last time that we all traveled together and we all flew to BWI, it was a terrible experience. It was the worst. The worst. Because Carter, he was a baby, and our flight had already been delayed like a couple hours. So then on top of that, we were at the car rental place, and we were at the car rental place for about, I think maybe like 2 hours. 2 hours, because the line was long, but things were going so slow. And it was just frustrating. I'm standing in line, my wife, she's sitting down with Carter, just trying to keep him entertained, and just having to hold a baby, especially to be at a car rental place. The seat's not the most comfortable, the baby's heavy, and it's a lot, man. So it was just a very annoying night. But I already had in my mind, like I had already paid for the rental car, but I had in my mind like, hey, if this thing is taking too long, if the rental car process is taking too long, if it's not a smooth process, then I'm just gonna choose a different rental car company to go with, because I do not want to go through that again. But anyway, the process, it went good, it went smooth, and everything, it went really smooth. It went really, really smooth. It worked out. So that was nice. So we got the rental car, and did we go straight to the hotel? I think we probably stopped in. We probably stopped and got some food first, because we stayed by the National Harbor first. We stayed there first, and we were like, we stayed by the National Harbor, and we went there first, but the drive was like an hour away. So we stopped to get food for Carter, because we didn't want him to be hungry, because when he gets hungry, he gets hangry. And the same thing happens to my wife too. When she gets hungry and she gets hangry. Me, I'm fine. That, like, being hungry, it'll be the same me if I'm hungry or if I'm not hungry. It don't matter. That don't bother me. But with them, oh boy. And I do appreciate the fact that Carter knows too. He knows now. Like before, he wouldn't know. Well, we would know. We'd be able to see. But now he'll be like, Dad, Mom, I'm hungry. And I'm getting cranky. Like, he'll say it. He'll acknowledge it. So it's like, okay, Carter, I appreciate that about him. Because the older he gets, the more he understands himself. And it's really cool. So, yeah, that's good that Carter gets to, he really gets himself. Sorry, I had to stop the podcast real quick because I hadn't even realized Carter he just woke up. So, anyway, We stopped to get him food. Then we made that hour drive to the hotel that was by the harbor, the National Harbor, and then we checked in. Service for check-in was great. The first hotel, it was great. Just everything was on point. Had limited food options, but again, we was by the harbor, so there was plenty of stuff outside the hotel too. So that was cool. My favorite place that we went to is called Grace Mandarin. Man, that place, loved it. Loved it. Yeah, Grace's Mandarin. This place was probably like a 15 out of 10, maybe a 20 out of 10, because the service, well, and I had never seen anything like this before. The service was great. The food was great. I got a drink. It was great. The presentation, the ambiance, everything was so good. It was so good, man. And this is what like really like tripped me out, because we got there first, and I love how they set an expectation, but they exceeded the expectation that they set. I love when that happens, because we got there. It might have been like maybe like 9 some, maybe 10. I forgot what time it was, but we got there and they were like, okay, it's gonna be a 30-minute wait. Okay, cool, no problem, that's fine. We got the text about 15 minutes later, hey, your table's ready. And maybe it was even a little tiny bit less than that, but it wasn't long after, hey, your table is ready. Oh, okay, no problem. So that started it off. But then like the look of the restaurant, just the vibe there, the hostess, the host, they were nice. And then on the way to our table, it was just like, it was almost like we was like at a resort or something, because they had the waterfall going. They had all these nice designs and all that. But anyway, we got seated at our table. So then a waiter comes over after a few minutes. He's like, hey, my name is such and such. I forgot his name, don't remember. But hey, my name is such and such. I'll be your waiter tonight. Need to get started off with anything, any drinks, appetite, blah, blah. You know how they do. But then he's like, our waiters are in all black, and we all help each other out. If you see any of us, let us know anything that you need. I was like, okay. And I thought that he was just talking, because you know they be saying stuff like that at the restaurants and stuff. Oh yeah, let anybody know anything you need, blah blah blah. Yeah, okay, cool, no problem. But so he took our, no, he didn't even take our order. So he left, and while we were looking over the menu, seeing what we were gonna get, then another waiter came over a little while later. He was like, oh, have you all ordered already? We were like, no, not yet. And he was like, okay, what would you like? And I was like, whoa, okay. I was like, okay. So they delivered on that promise that they all help each other out. So first one waiter, he got us started, and then another waiter took our order, and then and he was really good explaining everything, and I got exactly what I wanted, because I wanted something that was similar to General Tso's chicken, and they were like, oh well, that would be our Mandarin chicken. I said, it's pretty much the same thing. And I was like, okay, and then I ordered it and whatever, and yeah, it was right. And I got these wings. These wings that they had was perfect. They were perfect. But anyway, so the first waiter, he sat us down. The second waiter took our order. Then another waiter, he brought over, and I know usually at restaurants it's somebody different. It's not the waiter that brings you the food, but another guy, he brought us our food. And then another waiter, she came over. She asked, oh, how is everything? Is everything okay? You guys need anything else? You need to order anything else? And so they actually, like, they were all really working together. And it was a beautiful thing to see, because it just made the experience like, it felt like we was like at Disney or something. That's what it felt like. It felt like we was like at Disney World or something like that. But anyway, just loved it. Carter, he loved his food. Me and my wife, we loved our food. only complaint I had about there, the only one, is that I wish they would have gave us more white rice. Like the white rice serving, it was pretty small. That is the only complaint that I would have. And it wasn't even that big of a deal, because I was going to order another white rice to go with our food, but I was like, no, it's okay, man. But that would be the only thing. Other than that, perfect. And even with that, perfect. Perfect. Man, it was great. So that was that. And just the stay was great. Now with the hotel, the one thing with the hotel, that was by the National Harbor. Only thing with that. Only complaint I got about that one. Service, it was good, but it didn't make any sense to me. It was on, because we were gonna check out. We were checking out on Saturday, so this was Friday night. So Friday night, we were running out of soap in the bathroom, and the soap that they have is body wash, and it's in the actual bathroom. It's like on a not a stand. It's like on a how do you explain that thing? Anyway, it's in the bathroom. You can't move it. You can't do anything with it, but just dispense it. It's in a little dispenser. It's body wash, conditioner, shampoo. So the body wash is running out. So I called down to the front desk or guest services, whatever it's called, and I asked them, I said, hey, we running out of soap. Could we have somebody just bring up some soap, please? And they were like, okay, yeah, no problem. We'll have somebody come up. This was around 9:15. 9:15, got a 10:15, nothing. Got a 10:30, nothing. 10:45, nothing. 11 o'clock, nothing. 11:30, nothing. 12 a.m., nothing. 12:30, nothing. Nothing. Nobody brought it up. I'm like, okay, well, it's not good, but okay. So then the following morning at 7 o'clock, about 7:05 a.m., I sent the hotel a message from the app. I said, hey, I talked to somebody last night around 9:15, asked them to bring up body wash. They didn't. Nothing happened. They said they were going to, but they didn't. So they, oh, okay, sorry about that. We'll have somebody bring something up. I said, okay. 7:30, 8 o'clock, 8:15, 8:30, nothing. I hit them back again. Hey, how's it going? Just any updates, anything? Do we know when somebody's gonna be up there, be up here? I said, can they just drop off like a couple of the individual body washes, please? And they were like, oh, due to COVID, we're not doing the individual body washes right now, but somebody would have to could come to the room and refill the one that's in the shower. And I was thinking, and I told my wife too, I was like, how does that make any sense if it's due to COVID? Why? And I would think if it's due to COVID, then I would think you would carry the individual body washes even more, because you can just give them to the guests, and you don't got to have somebody. You don't got to be up all in the guest room while they in the room too. You could just give them to them or drop them at the door. But I was like, okay, whatever. So I was like, okay, whatever. That's fine. So did that, and I talked to them, and they said, okay, we're gonna have somebody come on. I was like, okay, cool, no problem. Checkout is at 11. So now it's 8:30 past. We get to 9 o'clock, nothing. We get to 9:15, 9:30, nothing. We get to 9:45, 10 o'clock, nothing. We get to 10:15, 10:30, nothing. Checkout is at 11 o'clock a.m. We get a knock on the door at 10:41 a.m., 19 minutes before it's checkout time. And they like, oh, hey, here's your soap. They brought 2 bars of soap. At 10:41, 19 minutes before we supposed to be leaving the hotel, that's when they brought the soap. I was just like, oh, boy. This is just terrible. Terrible. I had ended up showering already and just using like scrapes for soaps. I think I ended up using like, either the shampoo and conditioner too. I had to get creative with it. But I'm like, really? At 10:41, I made this request 13 hours ago. Well, actually, more than that. Like almost 14 hours. I made this request last night at 9:15, like about 9:05 or 9:15, around then. And we just finally getting it 19 minutes before he's supposed to check out. Like, come on, man. But that was annoying. But other than that, the stay at that hotel, it was cool. We went to the open practice. Met like a lot of Team Keep It Clean was out there. A lot. A whole lot. And my favorite part was when people would just acknowledge Carter. I really appreciated that. Initially, Carter, at first, he was like a little bit nervous. Because he's like, oh, hold up, who is that? And he was like a little bit shy, but as the night went on and more people were saying what's up to Carter, he started getting to his regular self. He got more comfortable and whatnot. But it was super cool, man. It was very chill at the open practice. Yeah, just a relaxed setting because it's obviously not a game and Pad's not even on. I still had his exciting moments. The DJ there. Anyway, but yeah, the overall experience was cool. The fireworks show, it was cool. And just like I said, seeing everybody, actually being back at the bank. That was Carter's first time at M&T Bank, so that was really cool. That was my wife's first time being there since 2013. So that was cool. And yeah, we sat next to, shout out to Simply. We sat next to him. So many people I didn't get to see though. I didn't get to see Fred from Birdland BS. I didn't get to see Sutton from Purple Rain Podcast. And I'm like, man, I'm not sure if Keeping It Real, if he was able to go. And Jake Locke, I'm not sure if he was able to go either. But I was hoping to see a lot more people than I did. We did see a lot of people now, but I was hoping to see even more. So anyway, that was cool. But yeah, shout out to Simply, shout out to him, his roommates. They were super cool. There was some annoying kids there though, because I know people get excited when they try to get put on a big screen and all that, because of course they had the cameras going around and filming everybody and whatever. But there were this group of kids. They had to be like 9, 10, 11, maybe 12. If they're 12, they might be like a short 12. So maybe like 9, 10, 11. So they were running from section to section, trying to get on the big screen. So, and I saw like when they ran to our section, they were standing on the steps trying to get on the big screen, like dancing and stuff, and trying to get on the big screen so everybody could see them, which I can understand the excitement. But so then when the camera was on our section but not around where they were, and they saw somebody, they were like, oh, so they tried to run up, but it was too late. They're like, oh, man, da, da, da. So they kept doing this from section to section, and there was one part where one of the kid, like a kid, and there's other kids around. Obviously, Carter was with us. My guy Bishop, who was in front of us, he had his sons with him, and they like, son had to, one of them couldn't even be over a year, and the other one probably like 2 at the most, 2 maybe 3. But the kid, like, he doesn't. Oh no, that's what it was. It wasn't even for it wasn't even for the big screen part. It was for Marlon Humphrey, because Marlon Humphrey, he was walking around. He was like, oh, he had autographed the football. He was like, oh, who should I throw it to? So Marlon Humphrey was in our little section or whatever, and he was like, oh, should I throw it to you? Should I throw it to you? He was on the field, but like pointing up to around where we were sitting at. And the kids, they were there. That group of kids, they were there, and they were like, oh, yeah, come, throw it to me, throw it to me. So a bunch of people were screaming and cheering, but Marlon threw it somewhere else. And one of the kids in that little group, he just yelled the F word. And I'm like, but you could tell it was not, like, authentic. You could tell it was, like, where he really wanted some attention. Like, he really... He just really wanted to. He just wanted to make a scene. You could tell that he wasn't like genuinely upset. He just really wanted to make a scene and wanted people watching him. It was just really annoying. It was annoying. It was cringy. It was very, and I know it's kids, but it's still immature. I just did not like that at all. And in fact, I actually had to tell those same kids to watch out for the baby that was like 2 years old, because the baby was standing on the steps, had his bottle in his hand, just standing there, and these kids come running down. So I said, hey, watch out for the baby, because they like the baby's right there, and they just so busy trying to run and get on camera or go try to get the football from Hump. It's like, no, man, watch out for this. Baby's right there. They could have knocked him over, and these are on bleachers. This ain't on the grass or nothing. This ain't on turf. This is on bleachers. So the baby could have got hurt. It was just really annoying, man, especially as a parent. Because well, at least me, not every parent is like this, but especially as a parent, you never want to, you think of, man, I do not want my son or daughter to be doing stuff like that, be acting out like that. Because that is a representation of the parent. It's a representation of the parent. And that it would just not be a good look. And not necessarily that everything that the kids do is from what they see with the parents, because it's not. Sometimes it could be what they see from their friends. But then even then, it could be their friends could see stuff from their friends' parents, and then they could bring it around your kid, and it just could be a mess. So the company that your kids keep is very, very important. The company that you keep is very, very important. But the company your kids keep is very, very important too. It's just as important. And oh man, those kids were annoying. Anyway. After the open practice, and that was another thing too that I loved. We took a lift because we stayed at a hotel on Saturday. We stayed at a hotel in Baltimore, and they I didn't feel like driving. I didn't want to have to deal with the whole parking and all that, so we ended up taking a lift. I have not taken a lift in years, but it was one of the best feelings in the world. Being able to get a ride from where you need to go, get dropped off right in the front, and to think that you ain't got to worry about parking, even though I know it was $10 for the parking for the event, but still, not having to worry about parking was great. So we took a lift there ahead of time, and then when it was over, we were gonna go to Jimmy's afterwards, but I called Jimmy's and said, hey, are y'all seating? They were like, no, we're not seating anymore. I was like, okay, cool. So we took the lift back home, or back to the hotel, and then we were getting in the elevator. We had to get in the elevator and to use the elevator, and this was the first time I had ever seen it. Because any of the hotels that we ever been in down here in Florida, I've never seen it before. But at the first hotel we stayed at by National Harbor, we had to do it. And at this hotel that we stayed at in downtown Baltimore, we had to do it. Where you have to use your key card for the room in order to go up and down on the elevator. So the key card, the entire time we were there, it was just acting weird. It wasn't really working that good. So we got in the elevator, it wasn't working. Then somebody else came in the elevator who worked there. He was like, oh, you can use my key card. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. So he used his key card, and while he was in the elevator going up, he's like, oh, hold up. He said, are you Ingraven? I said, yeah. He said, oh, man, well, I watched the videos and stuff. I appreciated it. It was cool, man. Then he says, what's up to my wife? He said, what's up to Carter? And it was just nice. So he helped us. He helped us on the elevator, man. So shout out to him. I think it was Ace. But so we got back to the hotel. We changed. And then we end up going to get food. Oh, but then this. We took a shower. Cleaned up, and we went to this one restaurant. What was it called? Is it not Azuma? That wasn't the one. It was a different one. It was like a Mediterranean restaurant. I forgot what the name of it was. Oh, I can't remember. Really trying to think. But anyway, we went to this restaurant, and I had on a tank top, and I think I had on basketball shorts. Most likely I had on basketball shorts. Carter, he had on a shirt, basketball shorts. But anyway, and my wife, she was like dressed in like, I guess, athletic wear or whatever. Went to this restaurant, and we look, and there's a dress code. It says, like, I think business casual, da-da-da-da. So it's like, okay, and it was a nice little restaurant. It had a nice look, nice. The atmosphere looked good. But anyway, we got to the restaurant, and before we walk in, it just shows a little thing about the dress code. So my wife was like, she's like, oh, they have a dress code. And I was like, oh, I said, okay, that's fine. I said, the worst they could say is no. The worst they could say is no. But then, so I went to the front. We all went to the front together. And I was like, oh. And she was like, oh, hey, how you doing? She's like, oh, you need a table? I said, yeah, a table for 3, please. So the hostess, she was like hesitant. She was like looking around, and it seemed like she just really did not want to sit us down. She's like, and then she was like, oh, okay, right this way. We don't have a kids menu, so do you guys just need 2 menus or 3 menus? So 2 menus is fine. So she walked us down, and she sat us over in this corner. And who knows, maybe that was the table that was available. Maybe. I was thinking that, okay, maybe with the restaurant, maybe since we're dressed like this, maybe they trying to like sit us off to the side where we can't really be seen by people that walk in. But I could have been wrong. I could have been wrong. So anyway, they sat us down, and so we're sitting there, just sitting. 5 minutes go by, still sitting. 10 minutes go by, still sitting. Nothing. Nobody came. 15 minutes go by, nothing. Not a waiter, not a waitress, not a host, not a hostess. Nothing. Nothing. And then finally somebody comes over, and she brings bread. She brings bread and water. Like, oh, okay, thank you. Somebody else comes in after us, and they sit in like a couple tables closer to the door. But they sitting like, this is still sitting in our vicinity. They come in a little bit after us. Well, they came in after us, but they got not only their bread and their water, but their orders were being taken too. So they had a waitress. I'm thinking, hold up. So that, like, from the jump, and I told my wife, I'm like, I was like, I don't know, man. I ain't really feeling this place right now. But I was like, I'm gonna give it a chance, because I'm not one of those people that, I'm leaving, I'm out of here. I was like, I'm gonna give them a chance. I'm gonna give them a shot. So we sitting there, and we see how this other table, they get the water and they get the bread and they get the waitress before us, and they got here after us. I'm like, I wasn't feeling that. But anyway, the lady who brought us our bread, we were like, oh, okay, we're ready to order. And she's like, no, I'm not the waiter. And the way that she said it was very rude. And hey, maybe she was having a bad night, but it was rude. She's like, I'm not the waiter. I'll go see who the waiter is. So okay, cool, no problem. Thank you. Thanked her. Thank you. So we waiting, and then finally this girl comes over, and I think the only reason she came over is because I made eye contact with her. Because I was looking around, because whenever somebody would come that looked like they could be a possible waiter, I would just look at them. But so I was looking at her, and she came over. She was like, "Oh, are you guys being helped? Have you guys been helped?" And I said, "No, we haven't." And she's like, "Oh no, I'm so sorry. Let me find out who the waiter is. Let me get a waiter for you." So she's not even a waiter. So she goes, she talks to the host, and I'm looking at them talk, and I'm just waiting. So then we get back to waiting again. So we get back to waiting. Then Then I told my wife, I said, let's just go. Because I was heated. I'm like, nope, it's not even worth it. I said, let's just go. And while we're packing up our stuff, guess who finally comes? It's a waitress. And I told her, I said, thanks, but I said, it's nothing against you, but we're just gonna leave. Because we've been waiting here for forever. And even somebody that came after us, they got taken care of before us. And I said, it doesn't make any sense. So we're just gonna leave. She said, oh, no, you can stay. I can, I'll take care of you all. So you can leave happy. I said, no, thank you. It's okay. We're just gonna leave. So we left. And that was a great decision. We ended up going to, what was the place called? I forgot what it was called, but we ended up getting pizza for Carter there. They had fries. They even had Seagrams. I got 2 Seagrams. And the place was way cheaper too. But the service was much better. Well, I mean, it wouldn't really be hard to get better service than what we had got at that. I wish I remember what the name of the place was called, man. I really do. It's a Mediterranean place. I can't think of it. But anyway, again, terrible service. My thing, what I wish would have happened, I wish, like, if it was the dress code, if that, which I'm sure it did have some impact, but if it did have any impact on the situation, I wish the hostess, instead of just lollygagging, and because you could tell, man, she was just really hesitant to give us a seat. If the problem was the dress code, I wish she would have just let us know from jump and been like, hey, I'm sorry, but we have a dress code here. It's business casual, so I'm sorry. If she would have let us know that from jump, that would have been fine. But the fact that you seated us and we got like no service, no. So if you gonna let us in the building, okay, we the customers at that point, and getting ready to be paying customers. But it was just that the service was just terrible. It was trash. It was nasty. And that night, like I was upset for a little bit after that. But I'm really glad we left. But we also went to, is it Petty Petty? I think, yeah, we went there. And they closed at like 11, I think. And we got there like 10:50. So I was already expecting like, oh, I don't want to be that customer that walks in, especially at a food place, that you walk in and everything getting ready to close, the kitchen getting ready to close, all that. So we walked in there. And these 2 girls behind the counter that worked there. And one of them was like, oh, sorry. She's like, oh, sorry. I think she said, oh, sorry, the kitchen is closed for the night. And I was like, oh, okay. But then the other girl, she was like, oh, hold on. No, let me check for y'all. So she checked with the guy who was cooking the chicken and stuff. He was like, do we have any chicken left? And he was like, yeah. So she was like, oh, okay, we can help you. And then I was like, all right, cool. We appreciate that. So then we were there, we ordered, and they were like, oh, we only have like mashed potatoes and we only got rice left and we got only this amount of chicken. We like, okay, cool, that's fine. That's perfectly fine. So they cooked the chicken. It was the rice that was left, the mashed potatoes, and it was very, very good. It would have been a lot better if it was like fresh. Like the chicken was more fresh, but the rice had been there for a little bit because it was the last of the last. But it was still good. And what I appreciate, and I told them too, I said, thank you for taking care of us. We appreciate it. And because they didn't have to. And even the girl who initially told us that the kitchen was closed, she was like, because I told her, like, when we were talking, I said, we ain't want to be those customers, like, to walk in at the very end right before it's about to close. She's like, no, it's okay. She's like, I am tired. She said, I'm tired. I worked the double today. She said she started working at, did she say 12? I think she said she started working at 12. No, I think earlier than that. But either way, she said she worked the double and she was tired. She was just ready to go home. And I said, I feel you, man. But that experience was just so much better than the experience at that little fancy restaurant. So much better. And again, just the service. It was so much better. And I appreciated it. And shout out to Carter too, because Carter, like, that was a long day. Like, being at that open practice, I would love to take Carter to a game up there, but it's a lot. It's a lot, especially if it's hot. So it'd be a little bit, because I would love for Carter to enjoy it, because I think if he understood what's going on a little bit more, then he would enjoy it that much more. But he did like cheering and stuff, and he like yelling and screaming a little bit. But anyway. So we got the food from there. We got the food from the little carry-out place, and it was all good, especially the fries from the little carry-out place. It's like a pizzeria, but they had like literally everything there. I forgot what that place was called too, but it was great. And then Sunday was just a chill day, man. Sunday we ended up going to Jimmy's. And then I remember when we left, Carter was like, "I love Jimmy's seafood." Well, it was good, but Sunday was funny because we went to Jimmy's. It was raining, so I dropped my wife and Carter off in the front, and I went to go get parking lot packed. And then I parked, and my wife, she texted me. She's like, "Oh, they don't have any seats available. They're not waiting right now. They're not taking any sit downs or whatever." And I did actually see somebody who parked like right before me. I saw them walk in. And when I was walking up, I saw them walking out. I was like, ooh, uh-oh. So my wife, she called me. But she called me when I was walking in, but I didn't pick up. Then she was walking out and I was walking in. And she was like, oh, they not sitting anybody. So I said, okay, cool. So I went in there. And I went in and I had on a Ravens hoodie. So I don't know if it helped. Maybe it did. But I asked him, I said, hey, do y'all have y'all have a table for 3? And she's like, we don't, but let me see something. And she's like, well, let me see something. Sorry, I got a text from my wife. She's like, yeah, let me see something. So she's like, okay, yeah, you can bring in the rest of your party. And I was like, okay. So I told my wife and Carter, I said, all right, come here. She's like, oh, what happened? I said, just come here. So we went, they sat us down. Service there at Jimmy's, excellent. The waitress that we had, she was great. She's super nice. Don't remember her name, but the service was great. Phenomenal, stupendous, all that good stuff. It was just great service. The drinks, great. Food, great. Everything, because Carter got his calamari, he got some crab rolls. My wife got crab cakes, she got cream of crab soup. Just great. Great. So then, what we do after Jimmy's? After Jimmy's, we came home for a little bit, and then we went like walking around and stuff. Oh, and then that's when we went to the Baltimore Harbor, and we were there, just walking around. We went on a little boat ride, which is super cool. That was fun. It was nice, man. It was just nice. It was a very chill day. I really appreciated just the relaxed atmosphere and not having any commitments or obligations to anything. And those are a lot of times my favorite types of trips, when there's no obligation. You don't have any obligation to anybody. You don't have any commitment to anybody. Only commitment we had was on the Saturday night for the Ravens thing. But that was it. So besides that, it was chill. But yeah, Sunday was super chill. We even saw somebody from Team Keep It Clean down at the harbor. It was cool, man. Then on Monday, we got ready early, got packed up and stuff, checked out from the hotel, and we ended up leaving. And Carter, he wanted Jimmy's seafood again. So we went and did a takeout order, and we got Jimmy's seafood again. This dude, he loved Jimmy's seafood, man. I said, I'm with it, man. My wife was like, oh, you see this? She's like, this way the Ravens, the football players, they go to eat after the games and stuff. And he said, really? So the football players, they like what I like? And she was like, yeah. He's like, oh, and so he thought that was super cool and whatnot. So yeah, it was nice, man. It was really nice. And then we got to the airport. We got to the airport early, like 2 hours before the flight, and it was nice because BWI can be super crazy. And it can be super busy, but it was nice to be able to relax and not have to rush, not have to run. And we could take our time with whatever we were doing at the airport. So my wife, she was able to get some work done. And we ate, we chilled. And yeah, man, it was a smooth process. Got on the plane. And on the plane, again, expectations. I love when people set expectations, but they exceed those expectations. We got on the plane. And there was one point where the pilot, it was like, oh, well, down in Fort Lauderdale, it's going to be some, there seems to be some thunderstorms. And we were like, oh, okay. So he was like, oh, when we pulling down or going down or descending or whatever, it could be some turbulence. It's probably going to be some turbulence. We'll try to avoid it as much as we can, but it's probably going to be some turbulence. So I was like, oh, man. Because I'm like, usually with them, if it's bad enough, the turbulence can be bad enough sometimes when they don't say anything about it. But if they do say something about it, it's like, oh, they prepping you for that turbulence. So I was like, oh, man. But there ended up not really being any turbulence, like hardly any at all. So I was so happy about that because I was worried about that because I hate it, man. I hate it now on the takeoff now. They be doing, sometimes when they do those dips where they catch you off guard, it's like, oh, man, it makes your stomach just sink. And, but anyway, it was a really good trip, man. It was a really, really good trip. I appreciate it. I did definitely appreciate being back home, though. There's no place like home. Even though somebody said, oh, M&T Bank is your second home. Well, it might just be, man. It might just be. But it's great to be back at the crib, at the home crib. So shout out to all of y'all. Appreciate y'all. This, again, the trip was great. It was great. It was fun. Had a lot of fun. I'm glad that my wife and Carter, they got to come too. Because that was the biggest thing for me. Me going alone, yeah, that would have been cool, but it would not have been nearly as fun. But I was really happy that they got to come with me. Because y'all know a lot of times I'll just go up there by myself. So, anyway. Love y'all. Team Keep It Clean. Appreciate y'all. Thank you for listening to another episode of Team Keep It Clean podcast. And we out. Oof. By this time, next time you hear the podcast, it'll be the day before the Ravens' first preseason game next week. Oh, things are picking up.